Hi, my name is Max Nerone, and my group and I decided to do a project on performance-enhancing drugs. Today in our society, sports are all around us, and there's one common trend, like athletes using performance-enhancing drugs. For our project, we decided it would be best if we researched and went into it, and what we found out was pretty interesting stuff. The one common thing that we learned is every sport has athletes that take performance enhancing drugs, and because it's so common in our society and almost like a cultural norm, we decided to look into it more and research it because we're all fans of sports. And what we learned was, as we were talking to athletes like Mark Mesowich, he was a clean athlete. He never touched a performance enhancing drug in his life, and what happened was he was a left-hand reliever, and so was his buddy, and they were both competing for the same spot, trying to get into the major leagues. His friend made it over him, and he only made it to the minor leagues, which is still pretty good. And what ended up happening was later, I guess sometime in the future, they found out that his buddy was taking performance-enhancing drugs, and he made it to the next level. So this brought up the question, is performance-enhancing drugs cheating, or is it just taking it to the next level? And Mark Mesowich could have made it to the big leagues if it wasn't for his friend cheating. And that question's always been stuck in his head, he said. So let's get into the effects of performance-enhancing drugs on your body. Probably start off first, what are PEDs in general? Performance-enhancing drugs is any substance taken by athletes to improve performance. That can include steroids, it can include HGH, even something simple as creatine. What anabolic steroids are, it's just pure testosterone going into your body. That makes it so you can train harder, you can lift harder, your muscles recover faster, not as much lactic acid builds up. So in a way, you can see athletes gaining so much more muscle from not taking, or from taking the anabolic steroids. So what these athletes are doing is, in the off season, they're taking steroids and HGH, and they're getting progressively stronger so they can perform better at their sport. It doesn't necessarily make them better at the sport, but if you're stronger, you can perform better. So they're still using skill, but in a way they're cheating because they're gaining more muscle faster than compared to everyone else. So if you look at some of the negative side effects of performance-enhancing drugs, it can include acne, baldness, it can mess up your liver, tumors, and most importantly, it can affect your cardiovascular system. It really strains it because your body is working at such a higher function, and it just destroys it.
Hi, my name is Anthony Raphael, and a little bit about Alex Rodriguez. Everyone knows Alex's story, how he took PEDs, really screwed up his life. He actually originally got drafted by the Texas Rangers, and in 2001 he got called up from the minor leagues to play with the Rangers. He actually, after he was caught, he went back and told everyone that he started taking when he was called up by the Rangers because of the immense amount of pressure that was placed on him because of how highly recruited of a prospect he was. It was kind of interesting that he was caught because his stats didn't really increase too much over time. As he got old, his stats, taking PEDs, didn't really do as much for him as it has for somebody like Barry Bonds, whose stats absolutely jumped after he took PEDs. The steroid that A-Rod took was primobolan, which is a trade name for a steroid called methanoline enthylate, which is a commonly used steroid by multiple guys who have been caught in recent years. What a lot of people don't know is that steroids are very similar to a chemical substance. And so in essence, if you take them to a lab, you can alter them slightly just so that they're not caught in a test. A lot of times athletes, this happened with A-Rod, this happened with Bonds, and most recently Maria Sharapova, they don't get caught for 5 to 10 years because what they're taking isn't in the system that is being tested for. And so a lot of times when tests are done, these guys are going years and years without being caught. Usually you don't see that with college athletes, more with professional athletes because they have the money to pay for it, because it's very, very expensive to have somebody chemically alter it, because just altering it slightly, because if you alter it too much, then you can knock the PED off course and it won't actually work for you. So you have to have somebody that really knows what they're doing with chemistry and then knows what they're doing with performance-enhancing drugs so that they know how they can alter it. Chris Franz, the guy we talked to, who's in the industry, was telling us all about it and how it's become more and more of a thing with these guys that have more and more money. Anthony Bosch did this with his business back when he was in business before he got caught selling to A-Rod. He basically had a lot of chemists that he taught all about performance-enhancing drugs, and so they were able to kind of chemically repair all these performance-enhancing drugs for these professional athletes with big-time money so that they could get past the system and just make money. It's all about money.
All right, so now we're going to start talking about some health risks for later in life. Obviously, you're going to get the short-term effects of taking PEDs, which is obviously going to be your muscle mass gain, your performance is going to go up. Obviously, that's why they call it performance-enhancing drugs. But at the end of the day, there's going to be some long-term effects on your body that aren't going to be good for you because these products that these athletes are taking aren't FDA approved. So you don't really know what you're putting in your body. You're just trusting the word of some chemist. So some examples of future health risks that some athletes are going to run into. You're going to see your occasional athlete acquire heart disease. You can always be diagnosed with cancer. You're always at that risk just because of all the chemicals you're putting into your body, and possible blood clots.
Hey guys, my name's Sam Cook, and I'm here to tell you what my group members and I did for our action step. What we did for our action step was we went to 2 ex-Ohio State baseball players' houses and explained to them the danger of PEDs, health risks later in life that could affect them, and to help spread awareness pretty much to say no to performance-enhancing drugs. There's a lot of health risks that will not benefit you for later in life, and we pretty much told them if there's any kids playing Little League or any kids in high school, middle school, even early college, to not take performance-enhancing drugs. It ruins the game of baseball and other sports, and we're trying to say no to performance-enhancing drugs. The obvious sign that someone is using PEDs is rapid muscle growth. PEDs don't help your hand-eye coordination at all, so an increase in statistics doesn't necessarily mean the player is using performance-enhancing drugs. There's a bunch of ways that it's suspicion. The testing is very expensive, so it does not occur in high school sports. It's more like concurring in college sports and professional sports. But you can do regular tests at your pediatrician, but it's not very common.